Yeah, it's getting hot and humid around here, and we might be getting some rain today. I got a flash flood watch on top or a flood watch on top of me, or at least I did. I know it's just been hot today, though.
Yeah, no doubt. Um, yesterday. You come off of the main thoroughfare 42 there, you get off on Market Street, you go over the bridge, and 130. It's a big conjunction there, right? So no, and I take this route all the time. And I pull down and I'm sitting at the light, and there's a woman behind me, and I mean she is freaking out. She is, pointing her finger at me. I can I can see her screaming at me, dude. Right. So we go through the next light, and she's on my bumper, and I let her go, and the entire time she's pointing her finger at me like there was no way I did anything wrong. I mean, I got a passenger in the car too, right? So in the truck. So I get up to the next area, and she thinks that I'm talking about her, and she stops the car in the middle of the road and wants to make a scene with me. Now, dude, it's really crazy because I think on Monday we talked about road rage. Dude, it is a problem. This lady wanted to get out and fight me, and there's no way. Again, hey, I'm just a smile and a wave guy. I give them all chiclets when they go by. So I don't want them involved with me. Get out of here. It's she wants to get out of the car. She's car in the middle of the street. It was crazy.
I do know that some people, with all the stuff going on, they're on edge. They're at the wits' end, and it's not taking them much to snap. That's why I've been kind of if I have to go out, I just kind of like keep to myself and not. I drive like I guess like a granny almost, like keeping the speed limit, trying to stay everyone's way, take the back roads, and yeah, that's what I try to do. But it sounds like she had a lot of stuff going on, and she just snapped yesterday, from what it sounds like.
I didn't do anything. I mean, I'm actually, just sitting there. It doesn't matter. So again, I drive, 50,000 miles a year around my three counties here. So I do a lot of driving. That's why people crack me up. Oh, man, it's a 4 hour drive. It's just another day.
I think,
Anyway, yeah, you got to
I
keep
just,
your head on top of your shoulders when you're on the road.
yeah, and I just want to say, I don't think it was you per se. The only thing you did, you were just there. You were just there. That was the one person that she can unload on, and I think that's why she did it. Because, like I said, people are weird when they're on edge and they hit that one point. You can be, you can be just a totally rando stranger to them, and you cross their path, and that all it takes for them just to unload.
Well, tinfoil, look, I've been a conservative my entire life. Hey, I supported Bush Jr., even the father. I've always been conservative, a very sports guy. I'm involved in a lot of outdoor sports, firearms, bows, crossbows, I've always been that guy, right? And I just feel like now I'm hearing like all kinds of rhetoric, murderers, blah blah blah, blah, but they're pushing this narrative that hey, conservatives, they're against the environment, and they're the one-eyed ogres, and it's just not true. I don't go along with all that GOP says, but most of it makes common sense. I mean, but look, it's to the point where I live in this state, you couldn't possibly put a Trump sticker on my truck. Right, I put a Trump sticker on my truck. Somebody's going to key my truck. I mean, that's what you got to watch here. It's great. Yep. Hey, I'm conservative as the next guy, but for some reason, that kind of it goes on. I'm sure everywhere. Uh, Truth. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Happy Wednesday.
Oh, it is something. I'm not hosting space. Nice.
Yeah, see, I need you like that today. Well, believe me, brother, I know what it takes a dedication kind of thing. And, again, hey, having background, it's hard, man. It's, I can't expend as much energy. I need to pay attention. So it's all good, man. And I appreciate everything you do to throw the space together every day. I get it. Yep.
It's a lot. I'm glad people show up. It always surprises the hell out of me when they show up.
Well, look, I think some of the cream is coming to the crop out there. I'm sorry, the cream is coming to the top, right? The reason I say is, I mean, hey, we see the back and forth with some of the rhetoric on here, and I'm just not all about it, man. The more I can stay disconnected, the better off we're all going to be. But anyway,
You're you are people. Stuff like that.
well, I'm telling you yesterday, hey, that woman, she wanted blood. I couldn't believe that she did that. As far as, man, just stopping in the center of traffic. I mean, this is we're only talking about driving incidents, and these people, when they get out, they want to fight you, man. It's hard to take. A lot of people, when they drive around or whatever, they're sticking a finger out the window and freaking out at somebody. It's just, man, I just give them chiclets and wave. I love it. I love it. I swear.
Did you ever see L.A. Story? That movie with Steve Martin. Did you ever see that?
Say the movie again.
L.A. Story.
No.
Oh, dude, it's worth watching once. It's funny as hell. Where they get on the freeway and they like, oh my gosh, what time is it? And then they're pulling out like a 50 cal and all this stuff and shooting at each other. It's funny, dude. You gotta watch it.
Yeah, he got on my nerves there for a bit. I was kind of Steve Martined out, if you catch my drift. But yeah, we were talking about movies the other day. Crazy. Hey, let's say hello to Terry, and then maybe we can say hello to Sovereign this morning.
Hey, good morning, Marlon and Truth, everybody. Yeah, I kind of listening a little bit here on the road rage. I have a dash cam on my windshield, very cheap. Get it from Walmart. It gets both the forward and the rear. And people that are behind me, I really don't care about. You know what I mean? It's just not worth it. But at any rate, the older I get, the less drama I like, and that's just the way. Yeah, I don't like drama. Period. So, anyway, that's it. I'll shut up.
Great, great to see you, Terry. Thanks for popping up there, and it's just, I think it's a reaction, right? And people get pissed off, and they cut in front of you, or hey, you're trying to get out in front of that trucker. We've kind of talked about that extensively, right? It's just what's the big hurry? I mean, you do 90 miles an hour and I do 60. You're only going to make it there like a minute or two before me. Is it really worth it? It kills me. It kills me, dude. I see it every day.
No doubt.
Yeah. So maybe we could say hello to Sovereign. Sovereign, good morning. Happy Wednesday to you.
Good day, everybody. Glad to be here. Good to hear everybody's voices. I'll probably be fairly quiet this morning because I'm really trying not to have a bad attitude. So I just came to hear all of your amazing, uplifting personalities, and I appreciate it. But I hope you all have a great day.
Well, good to see you, Sovereign. Hey, if we could put the little punch back in the punch bowl. Okay, come on. That's what it's all about here. Let's it's not, hey, you can go on information overload, right? And I think, hey, just a hair pull back and let's take a step back and really be effective again, because, I think we lost a little gusto, myself. So I'm, hey, I think I've lost some of my own. I see what's going on in my state. There was a committee board. Yep. So I'm interested to see what happens. It sounds like one of the guys that I know, he may have been voted in last night. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm still trying to figure out who Sovereign's referring to. amazing and uplifting.
Yeah. You must have mistaken it.
Wait, what was that? I had water running. I didn't hear your truth.
I was saying I was trying to figure out who you were referring to with this amazing and uplifting people. You're in the wrong space, honey.
No, come on now. See, look, I'm laughing. That's the first time I've laughed in a little while. So there you go. But I am curious, did we ever figure out the whole sock it to me, sock world? Did you ever, what's going on there? Does Marlon even know about that?
Oh, I should forgot it.
Yo, spill the beans. I want to hear.
Oh, we were trying to figure out like where all the socks go. You know, you're always missing a sock, and so we had this whole. It went crazy. It was like a whole soccerama about creating a website. You know, for missing socks to pair them together, like this whole thing. And then yeah, we
Marlon,
ended up on the moon. It's on the dark side of the moon, is where all the socks go.
I had mistakenly brought up that I was missing a sock, and then it was causing a lot of anxiety because, I had one sock. You go buy another pair, then you got three. So if you buy two, you got five. It doesn't, solve the problem. Where does this sock go? Where and it just turned into a whole fiasco.
You know, very. Then we're going to use it, but the stock saga, right? Hey, I can imagine my wife's listening right now. And that's probably one of her pet peeves. I've seen that sock, or I've had it, in an old bag or something like that. And there's no, mate to it. Like where's the long lost mate? A year later, or the stock shows up. That's ongoing. And then also, hey, kids, as my son got older, I swear my clothes were their clothes. I don't know what to tell you. We've long since separated since, but yeah, we got designated now, dude. All right. My wife had bought me cotton, pure 100% cotton underwear, long johns. She didn't want me wearing any of the rayon, the polyester. And man, I can tell you, I got my cotton socks on today. She's gonna be mad at me because I got them at work. But man, they're the most comfortable things. Soft. I love it. I really do.
You just can't beat a good set of socks, I'll tell you. Tinfoil, what's up?
So to add to the sock saga, Terry, there was a portal that opened in my home. I think I found your sock. It was wild. I got a question for you. On those dash cams, have you ever seen a dash cam that will, when you park near your house, it connects to your Wi-Fi and upload the video to a file share by chance? I'm actually trying to look for one of those.
No, I haven't. I just have a basic one that I got from, it was either Amazon, I think it's Amazon or Walmart. And the reason that I got one is because if somebody does something stupid on the road and the camera catches it and it causes an accident, it eliminates the he said, she said. But I'm not aware of that particular camera that you're talking about.
Oh, okay. I'll keep looking because you're right. It limits the he said, she said, and I've been wanting to find one that'll upload automatically because pulling the SD card out and putting it back in, eventually I'm going to forget it, and that's when I'll need it, and I'll be like, I'm screwed. So that's what I'm looking when they'll do it automatically for me.
Right. Well, the one I got was about 40 to 50 bucks. It records both the front and facing rearward, if in case I'm, rear-ended. And it captures about 170-degree field of view. And it just keeps relooping. So like you can capture a couple of days worth of recordings. So then if you are involved in an accident, someone comes over into your lane and they cause the accident or they run an intersection, you can just pop the SD card out, put it in your laptop and show it to the officer or make a copy for him. It works out pretty good.
Awesome. I'll check it out. Thank you.
Hey, does anybody else experience this? Like, thank God my phone tells me scam call. my God, my friggin' day is filled with spam calls coming in from all these different companies. It's kind of brutal. I've been seeing some things like there's some cleaning devices out there that you can send your phone through. So like, weed out all these calls, even though you blocked them and you developed this giant block list, it's not helping. They're just diverting it. It's like, it's a waste of time. I mean, aren't we paying for these services to be on these AT&T, Verizon? Shouldn't they be policing this a little bit better than maybe selling our information out there? I think X did it, the same shit too. Ever since I got the blue check mark, I get 10 times the amount of spam.
Well, dude, it's just like they're acting like Microsoft. They create viruses and then create the antivirus software. So these phone companies are spamming you themselves with all these fake calls and making you pay for a service to block it. It's telling you, dude, that's what's happening.
And Marlon,
Good.
you're on Android, aren't you?
I do, yes. I'm looked down on in this world. Yes,
Yep.
I'm just a peasant Android user.
It's not what I meant, but okay. No, but I know the sentiment because I get it too. Now I know on my iPhone they have an option that is called screening calls. I'm not sure if Android, it should be under the same spot if they do have it. If you go into your system settings, I want to say in the area where you handle cellular data or calls, and see if you have a screen call option, and then select that and select unknown calls. And what it'll do is if I call your number, it'll ask, please say your name for the caller. And I'll give my name and what I'm calling about. And it'll display a message on your phone right before it sends the call. And it'll see if you want to take it or not. And a lot of times the scam calls, they'll hit that, they'll just hang up. And I've noticed that a lot on mine where I'll get a message saying spam call coming in and it just flashes on my screen. My phone will vibrate for like a second and then it goes away. So that might help you too.
Maybe, like you said, I got to pay a service for these specific calls. I mean, it's brutal. So, anyway, not to go down that avenue, but I think it's a waste of time. I mean, I can imagine if you calculated all the minutes, they even picked it up and looked at the phone number. I'm just, anyway. Hey, Joe, how you doing, man? Good to
Oh, I'm doing good, and I do have fun with some of those scam calls or spam calls or whatever you want to call them, especially when they call and ask it. They say so I might have help with my final expenses, and they ask how old I am, and it's either am I between such and such age and another, and I say yes, but I'm getting younger. You do not qualify. Click. So I have fun with them. They're annoying. As long as you don't agree to anything on the phone, they're just kind of an annoying distraction.
Yeah, you give them Yojo. You give them, all right, I'll take you off the call list. And thank you. Have a great day. I just tell them, I says, this is a business phone. See you later. Click. I mean, it's not even how many financial services call me. Oh, they try my software, and oh my God, I'm just over the top with it. Again, I think it's a big, huge waste of time.
Well, again, my philosophy here that it's the phone companies themselves doing this because how easy is it for you to go get a phone number? And then if it's getting, you get flagged as a spam, then that phone number is not going to, you see what I mean? There's only so many damn phone numbers that they can give. Are you following what I'm saying? It's an impossibility. Just look at the odds.
Yeah, I mean, how many times? Hey, people can buy a phone number that registers here in New Jersey, right? They'll actually call my phone. It looks like a homeowner. I am running a business here, right? I have to answer the phone when customers are calling. So yeah, we'll get these clowns to come in. Anyway, you know what? It's a waste of time. Hey, what I did definitely want to mention this morning. Maybe you guys got something to say about it. How about Trump walking out of that interview? And, he kind of old face told these people, like, you're X and X, you're robbing the American people. Man, you know what? The tolerance. Oh, I traveled all the way to Wisconsin. Well, too bad. You could have waited and went to Washington or something like that. I mean, it's just stone ridiculous, man. And he went down the list. CNN, ABC, NBC, Meet the Press, all of the propaganda that we swallow from this mainstream media source, Fox included. I know he praises Fox and everybody loves Fox or where. Man, I have to tell you, I just I am turned off on a lot of those people. Look, I still like Jesse. I've met Jesse a couple times, Long Beach Island. Hannity, I can't swallow the guy. I don't know what planet that guy's on. One day he's praising Bannon, and now there's nothing. Right? I mean, a lot of hysteria out there, and there's nothing out of Hannity. It's like bullshit. And why am I watching Hannity's opinion piece? And the only interview I ever had with Hannity, and we were talking green energy, and the fool, what he did was he just made fun of my Jersey accent. Jersey, the entire interview. It was like actually a total waste of time, and he wanted to have more fun talking about my strong Jersey accent, I guess. What a clown! I knew he was a clown then. It just ever since that time when he did that, I was done with him, man. He can go spout off, and I don't know why Trump gives Fox all of it. He's got to spread it out. Maybe because he should listen to and look at the smaller people there. Okay, great. We're not all Joe Rogans. We're not all Alex Jones. But damn, I mean, there's some good people there that could probably use an uplift out of that. Let's start to hear it. One more subject. Trump going to the Knicks game the other night. Man, they tore him up. Do you think Stephen A. is resident material? Come on, Pete. Stephen A. You got to be shitting me. Did anybody ever listen to this clown 10, 15 years ago? The guy's one of the most racist guys on the planet. I don't give a shit what he says. Look at what he was. I don't care. That would come out. Stephen A. is president. Somebody bumped their head. He's standing behind that flag, and he stood up there like a pompous ass. Is what he did. That's not unity. Did he show unity? Did Stephen A. show unity when he went up and did his little shit? How about that? Standing in front of an American flag like that. It's shameful.
I heard that. And he's like a shapeshifter. He's like Chris Como, he was a hardcore, hated MAGA. Now he's on, I think, News Nation, and he's kind of like middle of the road. And I used to always say that, if his brother ever was no longer the governor of New York, that he would no longer be at CNN. And well, that's what happened. Stephen A. Smith, that was funny. Trump said, yeah, he's a nice guy. I like him, but he's got a really low IQ. And that's what he said. And you never have to wonder what Trump's thinking. As to Sean Hannity, all he does is interrupt. He thinks he's everything in a bag of chips. And the fact that, he's dating, I guess maybe he's possibly even engaged to Ainsley Earhart. She's on the morning show. Boy, imagine her having to wake up to Sean every day. And when he does interviews, all he does is interrupt. He'll ask a question. He'll never give the guest a chance to answer. And then as to the Kristen Welker interview, that was a classic. Like Trump said in the interview, he won the election and with 95% bad press. Now think about that. And when Kristen Welker goes, but I came all the way from Wisconsin, I just was dying. But here's the thing about Trump is when he's had enough, and he was tired of her crap. It's just like, there's no evidence. There's no evidence of fraud in California elections. Well, he said Obama had tapped his campaign, and the media freaked out years ago, and he was right. There's been several incidents instances where he was right in the moment. And fraud doesn't just come knock at your door and go, "Hey, you got me. You covered me enough that I have to come forward." And there is some serious election fraud in California. And so Trump's not always right, but he's seldom wrong. And he'd had enough with Kristen Welker. And I love when he took his microphone off and he threw it on the floor and he stepped on it and it sounded like a cockroach. And the look on her face, and that's just Donald Trump, the art of the deal. He knows when to walk away, because sometimes when you just sit there and you just go through it and they're getting you with those gotcha questions, you're giving them all the power and all the control. And he's the president and he wasn't going to take her crap. And that's a long rebuttal.
The disrespect that media shows to our president is so unbelievable. I'd never in my entire lifetime, you would always treat the president with respect, whether you agreed with him or not, you know. And I've met Stephen A. Smith a lot of times, and he's an idiot. So Trump ain't wrong on that. All he does is kiss people's ass that are famous, or he thinks that he knows somebody famous. That's all he is. He's a what you call a star effer. So there you go.
I like that star effort. Well, look, I just think it's comical because hey, last go around, he kind of said it on NBA tip or whatever. Oh yeah, I think I might throw my hat in the ring. There's some that said it. You know, like go back and look at it. Like you think this guy's got foreign policy? Like you know what? You know, and it's got nothing to do with color. I can tell you that. I think one of the best presidents we could ever have would be like a Ben Carson. You know, Ben Carson should have been vice president, in my opinion. I mean, I think I would have done a whole lot more than what J.D. Vance has really, hey, put this skepticism behind the vice president's seat. It's just, you know, it just feels like some of the moves are all wrong. I don't know why they're being made. Are they being selected like everybody is accusing, dude? It's just, you know what? I can't go on information overload and talk conspiracy on this. And meanwhile, they're running rampant right in my local. So again, it's just a waste of time for us to talk about it. But damn, it's this, man. It's this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
No. I was just saying yesterday our title was distraction. It's all distraction. Go ahead, dude.
Yeah, I was going to double back on what you said. The level of disrespect that we see the media show Donald Trump is so bad. And don't take me wrong, the media has always been pro-left. They've always been activists for the left. They didn't like Reagan. They gave Reagan a hard time. They didn't like George H.W. Bush. They didn't like George W. Bush. They all gave them flack, but the level of flack that they give Donald Trump is unprecedented. And I think it's because he gets in the ditch with them and he fights them. I mean, he'll sling mud right with them and he'll call them out. Whereas your prior Republicans wanted to be the better person. They weren't going to get it, go there. But Donald Trump, man, he really gives it to them, and they deserve every bit of what he gives them.
And some. Look, hey, come on. Trump is human, right? You don't think he's setting his empire up for when he gets done? Look, I guess he would be a fool not to. I mean, what other American in that spot wouldn't take advantage of having that seat and being the president? From what I see, like, hey, he's taking a step back to do it. But maybe the guy felt like, hey, he owed at least the valiant effort. I don't know. I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. I think there's a lot of political figures that are trying to save their asses and politically position the Trump administration. Even in my own state government. I mean, look at what's going on at Delaney Hall, right? Hey, did you guys? Not that I want to change the subject. I know we're flipping around here, but maybe we can wrap up this subject here, and we'll kind of talk about maybe Delaney Hall a little bit. I think there's some things that came out that hey, the Democrats are trying to our state Senate is trying to pass laws to get Delaney shut down and blah, 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 blah. I mean, talk about thick on a congressional end. Look how thick it is just in the state end, especially Jersey. Jersey's been in the news a lot.
Well, just to wrap up that last conversation, I'm just surprised that that was the first interview Trump just walked out on. He's been nothing but patient, gives the news so much of his time, and no matter how, they always spin it wrong. I'm just surprised he didn't do it sooner. Like, me, dude, and you wouldn't want me as president. I'd be radical, but anyway.
Oh, who I really like, and the material he puts out, and I think he's been kind of even keel. Man, Solomon. I believe this guy's there for the right reason. I like John a lot. I think the pieces that he puts out, they're talking about a worldwide ocean day. I mean, this goes directly with the green energy plan, and I think Solomon, he's on the right course, man. If I was to believe any of the media out there, Solomon, in my mind, is one of the most base guys out there, right? And I've been a fan of him for a long time. He's kind of stepped away from the Fox contributor. I think he's doing much better on his own. I hope he is. I like John a lot. I follow him. I watch the stuff he puts out, and he's been keeping his eye on the environment here. So I'm happy to see that. But hey, let's bounce to Julie. Julie, how you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you guys. Hey, Truth. Hey, Terry. Yeah, I'm just working away here, but yeah, going back to Trump. They're never, as long as they don't have to, they're never going to give him good press. Any good press. Never going to do it. He can tomorrow get that peace deal signed, sealed, and delivered. Everything will be great, and he still will never get any recognition of it. They will find something else. They will do something else because that is their orders. Their orders are to not give him any kind of recognition, because then that would actually they would be having to prove themselves wrong. But yet they'll praise up and down, and they'll give kudos to this Graham Plattner up in Maine, who's got so much baggage that I'm surprised he can even walk. And they're going to, praise him. He won his election. He's going to be running against Lisa Murkowski. Susan Collins, sorry. And, it's going to be a tough race because Trump is no fan of Susan Collins, and she's no fan of his. So I don't believe she's going to get an endorsement. I have to see. And that'll be a big win if he pulls that off in Maine. That's a big win because they need Maine to grab the Senate back. So yeah, we have to watch that. And New Jersey is horrible. Freaking Mikey Sherrill she finally went in, even though she was told she could have went in like about a month ago. She could have went in, but she never did. So she did it all for the camera. She did it all for the drama. She went into Delaney Hall, and her only complaint was coming out was that she wasn't allowed to talk to any of the illegal legal people that were held there. Okay, well, they told her that in the beginning. They told her that was not going to be possible. She was not going to be able to speak to any of them. So she knew that going in, but she made sure she came out, and that's what she put all over the news, was that she wasn't able to speak to them and find out if they were actually doing okay, because they are her bread and butter. Is what is keeping her going. Sure, not the people in New Jersey, because we didn't vote for her. So yeah, that's really what's going on. But how's everybody else doing?
Yeah, we're doing a lot more humid today. Heat's going to start coming on. It's been quite beautiful and stunning here the last couple of days, and we're going to lose it. You can feel.
Oh yeah, it was humid out this morning. It started raining on my way to work, and I was like, I was going to bring my rain jacket. At the last minute, I forgot it, but it just had just started. So yeah, it's going to be crappy, rainy, and not good around here, humid. But I just wanted to say, guys, I put it down in the purple bubble. It is Wake Up's birthday today. If you guys could all just wish him a happy birthday, that would be great. He does a lot for especially New Jersey. Obviously, he keeps us notified of what is going on in this area, what we have to do, who we have to get, make phone calls to. So if you can do me that big favor and just wish him a happy birthday, that would be great.
Yeah, Michael does a lot. Michael does a lot that he doesn't get recognized for, but he's made his own voice, so people are listening. Okay, Tin, you want to jump in there, and then Tin, I want to switch it to this Iran peace deal, how pissed off Trump is at Israel. I want to talk about it a minute because I think it's only history is proving itself. Okay, Tin.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I just wanted to comment on what Julie was saying about the governor. I saw how she was boo-hooing that she couldn't talk to the illegals in the ICE facility. And I replied back to her, it's like, well, the way you treated the ICE members and stuff, can you blame them? I was like, if you did that to me, I wouldn't trust you with a 2-foot pole. So I definitely don't blame the ICE facility for treating her the way they treated her, because she showed that she don't really care about them at all, the way that they're allowing these protesters to go at them. But I'll land there.
Yeah, well, hey, I think it's important, and I think it's really important to put this out there, and I want to smash this narrative. And I can tell you right now that the mainstream media is running on this narrative. Trump's never going to get this done. And, I tend to believe them. It may sound crazy coming out of my mouth, but I can tell you right now, if you think Iran is actually going to come to the table and make a deal, do you actually think that they're going to do it without forcing that? Do you think in 1979, the Ayatollah Khomeini would have released those hostages if Reagan didn't tell him he was going to come over there and bomb him out of his own house? That's what the man said. You know what? They let him go. But I'm telling you right now, with the mainstream media, the way that they're putting it out there, that they're the poor Iranians and they're scared, and no, those Iranians are never going to make a deal with the U.S. You know what? The U.S. needs to get this through their head. And I believe that only really the Generation X, who actually lived through the same shit back when I was a kid, right? Same hysteria, same exactly history. I'm going to tell you right now, the Iranians are never going to make a deal with the U.S. Even if they make a deal and they make this pig public, they are going to break it. That's what they do. They are never going to coincide with the U.S. Forget it. All right? They're showing you, one of the most powerful men in the world is after them. They are never going to sign the.
Well,
Then we just that discussion is dropped. Okay, Jared.
I thought you were done. I apologize, but it's always hard to find a reasonable terrorist state. Now think about that. It's like they say, your contract is only as good as the person you enter into it with. Well, they are like the big bully of the Middle East. They're the tyrant. It's why a lot of these Arab nations have not come running to their aid. They're like that bully on the playground when we were in grade school that was bullying everybody and twisting their ears, and they finally got punched in the face. And everybody that had been bullied, they liked what they saw. The only thing they understand is force and power. Words mean nothing to them, because when they make an agreement, they figure they're going to break it anyway. So the only thing they understand is raw power. And what I love about Trump, he's our first president since they took power in '79 to stand up to them militarily like this. And they say, well, what about the midterms? He goes, I don't care about the midterms. I'm dealing with this. So, it had to be done. And I'll stop there.
If I didn't feel so strongly about it and watch the antics the entire way, looking through all the propaganda bullshit that we've been fed all of our lives, the Iranians are never going to be a partner of the U.S. Just tell them. So, did you want to jump in there? I know you're probably on break. How you doing, Joe?
Yeah, just real fast here. I'm doing good, Marlon. Thank you. I hope everybody's doing well. I don't know. I've kind of come to the conclusion. I think this is never about a deal. It's never about nukes. Never about Israel. Well, some about Israel, but I think it's just about oil and drink. And get this. How about the using of Israel as a proxy? How about draining the money from them and the crown? What does anybody think about that? As we try and do this financial reset. Yeah, Israel maybe as a proxy when we use other people as proxies. I don't know.
Well,
I think it's about oil though.
I,
Oil and money.
well, you know what? On Rob Manus show the other day, they were talking to retired CIA Sam. I forget his last name, but you know, he talked about exactly that. You know, he talked about that the Iranians are never going to come to the table. They also talked about how the CIA was really implicated in all this and how they're really trying to pump the Israeli Secret Service into the pipeline to all of our information. They talked about these acts that are coming forward. You know, living it. So, you know, I understand that, hey, the younger kids can be captured and they're walking at the heartstrings saying that the Iranians are, you know, good people. They probably are. Okay. I'm sure they are. I'm sure the Chinese people, I'm sure Russian people, I'm sure they're great. But that particular regime is never going to bend a knee, ever. They're going to go to the death, and they're showing it. They just rip that country apart. Now they want to go take out power and bridges, and it's going to hurt the Iranian people. But guess what? They're leaving them no choice. Those guys are never going to come to the table. It's going to be excuse after excuse after excuse, exactly since 1979.
Well, I think,
No, I don't.
Marlon, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
I think a lot of people try to put in their mind when they think of this, they think they're same as us as far as the way they rationalize, and so but what people need to put in perspective, these people don't think like we do. They're Stone Age kind of thinking. Look how they treat their women and their people, and I mean they're not on the same mindset. So, like I said earlier, the only thing they understand is force. And when force is being used against them or the threat of force, that's when they really start to get it. These are not normal people.
So they're using our mainstream media like a violin, dude. They're plucking the strings for that mainstream media, and CNN does it all the time. My God, it's just so bad. I feel like they're working directly against America to split them. Oh, Iranians didn't do anything here. They're not telling the real story. It's just it's hard to take as a Gen Xer and watching ever since those hostages, you know, they weren't screwing around. The only time that they changed their direction was with Bush. When Reagan told him he was going to bomb him in his own house, the man let him go. Jen, how you doing, Jen? Good to see you.
Good to see you guys too. You know, we have to remember that even here in the US, you know, we can speak to this through what's been happening with the media promulgating division through race and everything else. You can weaponize a populace, and it's very easy. You can weaponize the populace by making them the victims of the war that you're actually doing, which is what happens quite often over in the Middle East for any country. To say that, you know, you bombed a hospital, you bombed a school, when information has told time and time again that they utilize that as a military base. So, yes, it was bombed because it was a school being utilized as a military base. Or there were, like, you know, tunnels, like a rat warren underneath all these buildings that were leading to vulnerable areas, so on and so forth. So, it works fantastic on people who are reactionary, emotionally manipulated, and reactionary, which I'm sure we can all point at a bunch of family and friends that are exactly that. And, you know, it's up to everyone. It's your responsibility to start educating people on the emotional manipulation and that you're being used as war fodder when you try to stand up for the Iranian civilians. And if we just ended this war, it would, help them. It's not going to. They're going to suffer regardless. They've been suffering. They were, celebrating in the streets when America finally stepped in. That should show you something. It's, inside of a country, there comes a tipping point, and the tipping point was when America stepped in. So you would hope that the country itself would, the citizens and the populace would go forward with that. Unfortunately, it's been a very long time since revolutions have happened. Although I think we may be looking at one in Ireland, definitely. That's kind of crazy what's going on there. But we got to remember a lot of those people that are in Ireland right now lived through the Troubles. They're my age, and they were raised up in that stuff. So I'm surprised it took them so long to get mad enough to actually do something about the forced diversity that's happened to them and the damage that it's doing to the country.
Jen, remember the IRA, Jen? Jen, remember that as kids? That was scary. Do you remember that shit?
Yeah, that's what the Troubles are. The Troubles was, the IRA and everything else. That's what it was called, and that's our age. That's 50 and above. That the signing was in 1898. It's people think it's so long ago. It really wasn't that long ago. Wasn't even 2 generations ago. But yeah, these are people that finally said, okay, our government is just going to let us die. There is no more Ireland for the Irish. There is no more England for the English. They protect the refugees and punish anyone who is native born. It's insane, but that's the way it is over there, and that's globalism. That's using a populace against itself by constantly giving it an irritant. To constantly have something that they have to fight against in order to not ask for a better government, to ask for a better country, to ask for no corruption, and all of those things. It's literally the the thing we keep on saying. What do they have us concentrating on, so that we're not concentrating on something else? So just make sure, like, if anybody's talking about that around you, and they're like, oh, but like the refugees. This was a refugee, a Sudanese refugee, who grabbed a kitchen knife and in the middle of the street on camera was carving out an Irishman's eyes and partially beheading him. That's why they're rioting in the streets. Imagine if that happened in your town. What would your town do? That's what's going on in Ireland right now.
Our town would defend itself because we have Second Amendment. Unfortunately, Irish don't, and that's why these countries are being taken over. I mean, they're picking the weakest first because they've taken all their gun rights. That's what happens to downfall. That's why it's our Second Amendment. That really is the saving grace of this country, and it's going to save us in the future. Unfortunately, if it gets to that.
Canada doesn't have that right either. It's not in their declaration. I forget what they call the they go by. Man, I forget. I'm dumb this morning. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jen.
All right, now I'm gonna I'm gonna put a little ink in the water with that. So you would first have to scrape off all of the white liberal bleeding heart women surrounding the poor refugee man who just tried to behead someone. Remember, that's how twisted they've gotten it here. So that's why I'm telling people, you've got to have these conversations. You got to get uncomfortable. You got to break people's minds. You got to get them out of this retarded mindset that they have, where they care more about the criminal than they do about the law-abiding citizen, because that would happen in the United States. That would happen in my city. I know it would. There would be at least 4, and I'll say it, 4 white women who would be over there crying and screaming and trying to protect this person who just tried to murder someone else.
Let me say this, right? They use the media over here to shadow this, hey, sympathy for this regime. In the back of my mind, do you know why these people, I know Trump is, hey, let's stand up the Iranian people. I don't think that people understand. It's probably the mob on steroids, right? If you don't comply, they're going to come and chop your head off. No shit, literally chop your hands off, right? If you don't go along, or you don't keep your mouth shut, we're going to kill your entire family. I bet we're not hearing that side of the story, Jen. You know what I mean? Like, they're under persecution and tyranny. They were probably scared to death to speak up, because they know once the Americans pull out, the death is going to come to them. Get it, true?
I was just gonna say one of the sayings from, I think it was, you know, you got plans until you get punched in the face. So anybody, they may talk tough, but once you hear the first round shot off in the air, believe you me, everybody scatters. Reality hits them. It's a wake up call. And again, God forbid that stuff happens in our streets. Nobody wants that. And people who think they do or act like they're want to be tough guys and, oh yeah, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. No, dude, you're not. You don't know till you've been there, done that. You don't know.
They should travel to other countries. You can tell that they're very Americanized. They don't realize, like, nobody really gives a shit about their feelings, what they're being taught in schools. The world really doesn't care. They're making them weak, right? No shit. That's the conception that these other countries have, that Americans are weak now. Get it, Summer.
Well, just kind of what I believe, was it Kate that was talking about how, we hope it wouldn't happen here in our streets, and how she's saying, the liberal women would be protecting them. My thought was too, after seeing the girl, I don't know how to pronounce her name, that was attacked on the subway or the train, whatever it was.
Irina.
Thank you. Yes. So last night someone was just attacked again on the same rail line. But it's like, I see people recording and just standing there. I hope that I live in an area that if something like that was going on, people would jump in and not just stand and record. That's almost more terrifying sometimes to me, is to think that people just stand idly by and don't intervene.
So it's a sad fact, isn't it? In North Carolina, people can carry that train line is actually a lot of students in the schools take that. Students are petrified, terrified. They'll walk. But yeah, the fact that Irina, her whole murder is on camera. That was somebody sitting there recording that, not doing a damn thing while it was happening and afterwards. It's unreal, right?
Well, do we know that we're not seeing some of the cases already? Do you really know it? Honest to God, think about the judicial system, the way that it's all set up here. Yeah, these people, look. Again, I think what the Iranian people are dealing with, I think what the Venezuelan people were dealing with, was the tyranny that, hey, they're going to come and they're going to cut your family down. It's that simple. They're that brutal, right? Hey, Nika, how you doing? Good to see you, Nika.
Good to see you too. BC in here and up running the space. It's a nice break. I couldn't make it in yesterday and I was late today. I've had customer meetings playing catch up from my time away, but I wanted to jump in here on this because I live in North Carolina. I lived in New York when Daniel Penny was tried and convicted. So, guys, keep in mind, even though we have the right to carry, that doesn't mean that the judicial system is going to side with you when you do try to help somebody. Unfortunately, it deters people. So, and they know that they're using that to their advantage. Where that happened in Charlotte is a very, 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 very liberal area. It is a sanctuary city. And I would be willing to bet that if somebody was to step in, they would be tried and convicted. So you're not going to see a lot of people trying to help after what they did to Daniel Penny in New York City. It just, it makes it harder for the average person to, because I do carry. I live in North Carolina. I'm not ashamed to admit it. And I do carry. I lived in New York when Daniel Penny was tried and convicted. Unfortunately, I was not on his jury because I would have fought like hell to keep him out of jail. He was trying to save other people. And it just makes it that much harder for people to try to step in to assist in those situations when it happens in these liberal sanctuary cities where they're likely going to put you in jail for it.
So you see here's a solution for all my fellow veterans that are having a hard time going through issues, trying to find work, homeless, whatever. Get them jobs, put them on the trains, let them just be on there the whole time. They'll step in. They got nothing to lose. They'll do it. Put them at the schools, give them work. That's unfortunately a reactive society where we're not being proactive to prevent these things from happening. It is what it is. So if we're going to be a reactive society, all right, well then let's put some hardcore vets that I know out on these these platforms. Like, yeah, man, I dare you. That's how they be walking around. Yeah, just try it. Come at me. Try to hurt somebody here. That's what I would like to see.
I love that idea, Truth.
I have the name for it. I have the name for it. The Hobo Popo.
Well, hey, I know a couple people came up. Maybe we can get a hello out of Moab there. Moab, I don't know if you got a mic or not. And great to see you. And then we'll maybe say hello to Gene.
Yeah, I got a mic. Can you hear me?
5x5, my man. How you doing? Great to see you.
I mean, I wasn't going to grab a mic, but I agree with most of what's been said. But, Truth is right. Most civilians are ignorant when they say they'll go into a conflict, combat, or run towards gunfire. There's only a select few that's willing or able to do that. I know because I've trained with them here recently. Special Force community, SEALs, Green Berets, maritime interdiction with the CBP. It takes a special person to do that. And I always thank Truth, as I will this morning, of his service. I'm a veteran. And, but, I'll go back to a comment that was made about, I know that was said, but we should be caring about the midterms. If there's any indicator, look what just happened in California with Bass, what just happened yesterday with Senator Graham. And also you guys mentioned up in Maine. That ought to be an indicator of what's to come with the midterms, and people need to be aware of. But last thing I'll say, Marlon, is I hear all this stuff about the Middle East and the conflicts that have ensued, but I just have to remind folks. You may not agree with me. I got a lot of folks that served over there. Some never came back. Close friends of mine. Name one regime change that we've benefited from. And I can't think of any or one in the Middle East. We got Libya, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan. We're so many trillions of dollars in debt. I just have to caution folks when they get so gun ho, I guess is the right term or phrase, to continue these wars, these endless wars. Now, Goats mentioned it's a lot to do with oil. You better believe it is. It's the formation of the BRICS, the Silk Road, and now we're funding data centers with Chinese. Don't take.
Yeah. No idea. Nobody.
How about now?
Yeah, you sound much better now. You're
But thing before I get
We lost you again, bud. No, just drop down, come back up. Oh, I'm sorry, man. We lost you. Um, and just to reiterate, just what are you saying again regarding, our fellow veterans and all that kind of stuff? People keep kind of poking the bear. You really don't want to go there. I know. Just you don't want to go there. You don't want to get that group of us to a point to where we got to get engaged. We have tried to stay the hell out of it, and there's a reason for it. Trust me on this. There will be zero hesitation and zero remorse. You wake up that bear, it's on like Donkey Kong, and you're going to regret waking it up. That's something that none of my fellow vets want. None of us. We just want to live in peace, live our life out, just leave me the hell alone. You don't want us engaged. I'm just telling you.
Well, I think that's half of the brutal thought process that Americans have. Like everybody in the world thinks like we do. We have it safe, and no, it's not like that. I can imagine that. Hey, not only the regime, but hey, probably a lot of the older guys, and they're probably putting pressure on that citizenry too. But you're not hearing a whole lot come out of Iran now. There are a lot of people that are, hey, like Moab said, they got some experience over there. They can understand it a little bit better than us, especially citizens. We don't know 90% of the story. We're in spaces like this pontificating about it. You know what? You know what I'm worried about? I'm worried about going to work, and here over there, you got to worried about, hey, the gang coming to take your child or molest your daughter just because, hey, you opened your mouth, right? I mean, that's kind of what goes on there.
Well, all the countries he listed, why don't you ask ourselves, what's the commonality besides oil in the Middle East? What's the commonality of all those countries? I'm just throwing it out there. What's the common ideology that's behind it? Just think about that. Go ahead. I think Jeannie and
hey,
Jen.
if you guys can hear me real quick.
Yep,
I got called a retard, Truth, by a federal ex SF community guy. I'm not going to name names because I'm not going to do that unless I'm standing in front of anybody. I
Moab, we keep losing you, bud.
okay.
Try dropping and coming
Got
back
you
up.
better now. Got you better now.
Just keep that Marla and Truth. A saying truth to and God for it. So let it sink in.
I wish it could sink in if we could hear what you said. Dang it. Try dropping, man, and coming back up. All right, you got Jeannie, Jen, and the fixer.
Yeah, I really would love to hear more from Moab. I hope you get to a area where we can hear you full throttle.
I'm
I
sorry, Jeannie. I'm sorry. Terry and Truth, I got to step away, man. Wait.
Okay. What do you want me to do?
Just it's all right.
I just want to be uh polite. Um Space etiquette. Is there any? I am contemplating and need direction and feedback and that type of thing. But what you guys are talking about is what I think I need, which is I don't think we're going to get people to be involved. I think we have a lot of voyeurism going on right now, for lack of a better term, because all the people that were out and about and running around and on social media and very active and very involved, they're just not saying a word. I know that they're scrolling and they're reading, but they're not engaging. And I think that is a fear response. Um, as far as the number of people who are liberal minded and rebuking, um, like Matthew was talking about the women who would try to save the person who was committing the crime. Even those liberal retards are quiet. So I think that we have to go on the assumption that as long as we're speaking truth, as long as we are actively doing something, it doesn't have to be grandiose, but that we continue to be truthful with the people we interact with. Um, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what I'm looking for anymore. Um, I don't know if we should continue to. I do. We have to keep showing the evil, pointing it out. This is the evil we're dealing with. Wake up. Now, how do you get them involved? I think that the people who are going to be involved already are. And I think that there is a lot of quiet planning and infrastructure building going on without it being announced, if that makes sense. Because I look at the healthcare scenario and everyone's talking about all these different components of healthcare except for one. And that is what's happening today in our hospitals. And how do you grasp that, right? How do you tackle that? People don't understand what's happening in our hospital systems. And so, you know, I would love to believe that the leaders that are at the top are aware and hoping that they are planning a level of solutions to combat that. But for nurses, especially, and I'm just going to speak for nurses, we have organizations that are telling us be very careful of what you do. We really don't want you to be out there saying anything because we're going to come after your license if you're out. I'm like, really? Now our licensing boards are censoring us? Wow. So we've come to a end pass, I think. You're either willing to risk it all and be involved and assist in any way that you can, or be in the voyeur group. I guess I don't know. I think it's all very personal and spiritual. Yeah, it's like how it's like I'm I am so it's like I got one guy who wants me to be involved in his business and I'm like, wait, you don't understand. We don't have time to worry about creating a business and are you kidding me? It's like we're past that. We are so past that. We need to change our legislation and we need to get the right people in the right seats so that we can make things happen. We need to reconstruct everything. There's not one piece of the thread of our society and culture that does not need to be rebuilt. I'm sorry. Don't mean to ramble. I'm so sorry.
Or I just wanted to add on to what you were saying earlier, that people don't realize when when the militia, which would be service individuals who are either in service or have been out of service or have served in their community with the protection of the populace, are finally to the point that they must step in, they will have to finish it. And that's what people don't get, is the finishing part, because it's brutal. You have to go all the way to the stem of the problem. And that's the part that, you know, when you go into other countries and you see what ends up having to be done in order to end the conflict, that's the part that people are just going to have a lot of problems with and not be able to understand. But it's the finishing part that has to occur in order for everything to stop being so crazy, if it gets to that point. So that's why I'm always about having uncomfortable conversations with people and saying the thing out loud. You know, don't have go along to get along, because that's how we got here. You know, unless it comes to your paycheck, which I understand for a lot of people. And even then, you can be non-compliant to a point. You can be non-conversational. You can even refuse going to your diversity training because you don't believe in that religion, and push the point. There's a lot of things that we have in our pocketbook, you know, in our back pocket that we can do, but people just choose not to do them because they want to go along to get along. Well, that slow, slippery slope is how we got here. And if we continue down it, yeah, it's going to be impossible to just live a normal life with any kind of freedom. So, but yeah, that when people say I want it to come and everything else, you have zero idea of what it takes to finish it up, what it takes to clean up crew to do in order to end the conflict. And it is those are the horrors of war. That's literally the horror of war.
It's a damn shame. Would he cries big, but anyway, go ahead and fix your things for your patients.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, for giving me a mic. Normally I try to come in here and give information that's germane to the subject, and to some degree I will, but mostly this is a different ask for help here. I think a lot of people are familiar with the 2-year-old who had a near drowning experience in Houston. Her name's Annalise Camp. Yeah, this family is in the fight of their life over the next 24 hours to try to save this child's life. So, not asking you to, I have it on my profile. If you want to click on there, it takes you straight to their GoFundMe page, which they've raised some money, a lot of money, but it's not going to be near enough. But that's not why I came here. I'm just asking you to pray for this family. Pray for that child. I don't care what God you pray to or what denomination you are. Please lift up this child in prayers. You know, uh, I'm a Christian, but I don't care. This is, and I'll tie it back to what you're talking about. This child, was near drowning death experience. Child was taken to the children's hospital, and with only 13 hours, the hospital wanted to, to decease the child, take it off life support before they gave the child an option to many other types of procedures that have been performed in the past for children that had been well beyond that. So the hospital has been very. I don't know if they committed. I'm not saying this. I'm just thinking out of my head. If they committed um, some type of malpractice and they're trying to cover it up, but they wanted to take the child off life support. The parents went and got a temporary restraining order. Then the hospital puts the child's name out to a liberal. I didn't know Fox News even had liberal stations, but they do in Houston. Put the name of the child, the condition, and then said that we've exhausted all remedies for the child, and then put that out to the media. for every other hospital to see that they were trying to transfer the child to. So they're in the process of still going through that, but the hospital took them back to court yesterday. I think that's the way it went, or the reverse. Yeah, so they won. Won't go into the details. I don't feel at liberty to do that. But anyway, I'm just asking you to pray for this child. The system, this is the same hospital that the state of Texas Attorney General's office took to court for transitioning kids. They're also the largest harvester of human organs in the United States, maybe even the world, I don't know. And this is a business. Vanderbilt here, same thing. They were transitioning kids until they got caught, and then the state here had to step in. Same thing. It's all part of this, and I won't get into all of it, but you can look it up on your own. It's horrific. So when the hospital even sent one of the representatives of the family an email thinking that they were forwarding the email saying that, well, if they didn't get their way, they were going to get CPS involved. Everybody in here, I know, has heard all the horrific ways that CPS goes about things. So anyway, that got knocked out as well. So that didn't work for the hospital. So anyway, I won't bore you with any more details. I'm just asking you, please pray for this child. One of the people associated with this, told me one day, she said, pray, pray, pray. And I thought, how fitting, because it fits with Trump's fight, fight, fight. Fight this system, but do it through God. We're in a spiritual battle. Thank you for listening to me. I appreciate everything.
Thanks for talking to you and sharing that. Everybody, of course, wants to support the cause. I'm glad you're here. I'm off Marlon's back. Certainly don't know if Terry, is your thing working? You look like you're in co-host purgatory.
Yeah, it's working. It's working. I was just listening to what Fixer had to say. I think True Mag has got his hands up now.
Right.
Hey there. Thank you. I think it's really getting the elite are really getting their hands on us and controlling us in any way they can for their own selfish reasons. We're funding our own demise by just using AI constantly instead of our brains. So we got to stop using AI, else it's going to take us over. I mean, young people are having such a hard time. Chemical engineers just like went to 4 years of college, good grades, can't find a job anywhere, applied thousands of places, can't even find a job at Walmart or McDonald's. I mean, they're just like, what the heck's wrong with this country? Their American dream is just slipping away. And we're not a free country, we're a fee country. We pay fees on every single freaking thing we do. And I just wanted to end with this. Instead of this AI robots that are going to protect the elite from us when we're starving to death, that's what they're going to use them for. Why don't we create robots that clean the ocean and that clean up our streets and that grow food for all of us to eat? And think about the good things that robots can actually do for humans instead of controlling us.
Yeah, they could take my trash out to the curb. That would be a positive. Hey, it might be coming. You don't know,
Hey, my trash night's tonight. I'm gonna wait and see what happens. I don't think it's no. That's okay. I mean, it's great when it's 80 degrees, sunshine, and no problem. Send that robot out there in a foot of snow to take that trash out. Then we'd be talking.
That's the worst, Marlon, isn't it? Trying to pull that rolling trash can through the snow.
Yeah, and this year I asked for it, as I enjoy some snowstorms, no doubt about it. But this year was over the top, dude. I mean, we got a foot and it froze, it rained, it froze, it snowed, it froze. we had like you could walk around on the snow here, and it was like 14 inches, and it was a thick ass. In fact, me and my wife, we walked out into the field next to my house. I mean, it's probably a 250-acre field, and when you looked across it, it looked like a lake. It was really weird, man. I mean, when we stepped on the sheet of ice too, the crack went from one end of the field all the way across to the other. You heard it. You know what? This was one hard winter.
Yes, sir, it was. It was a bad one.
If you live in California and move to somewhere like Michigan, are you going to be in for a big shock about when winter comes?
Well, we got Moab in the crowd. He's experiencing Yankee Doodle spring here. So yeah, he'll experience the Yankee Doodle fall real quick. You know, that weather changes, right? You know, yeah, hey, it's great here in Jersey until about 20th of October, right? And then it kind of goes downhill. Downhill in a lot of ways, right? Although it's hunting season, but it gets cold, man. It's not like down south, man. This year was a hard winter. I'd like to get out of here. Hey, if as soon as I can figure out how to get the paycheck to the mailbox, I'm out of here. All right, somebody tell me the way, please.
Yeah, you got to learn how to drive out there, don't you? I mean, like if you're from California, you don't drive around in ice and stuff. You're gonna have to learn your new method, get a 4-wheel drive. I don't know what the hell. I know a guy's going to do that. And I'm going, dude, you're going to freeze in Michigan.
Yeah. Yeah, Moab. You got a mic? Yeah, he cracks me up. You know, he's from down there. He's up here experiencing these New Yorkers and Connecticut and Jersey guys. It's hilarious.
You guys. Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. I don't know I mean, 2 foot of snow. I keep hearing it gets rough up there. I haven't seen a rough day yet, Norman.
That's it. You just called down the thunder, dude. That's the problem. Yeah, I have to tell you, we've been blessed. I think the weather here has really gotten to be. Hey, this year was a much gradual climb to the summertime here. Third week in June, July, August, they're hot months here. Same heat and humidity you got down south, you get it here. But you get the change of the season here. I don't know how it is in Mississippi, but it's quite the difference between September and November.
Yeah, I think that water that you're drinking up there is getting to your head, man. Humidity's a lot different down here than it is up there, brother.
Yeah, no, I mean, like today, when you get back here, like you've been spoiled. Well, you'll get back here. The heat and humidity's here. Yep. Go ahead, Jen.
Wait, so you were talking about people coming from California and moving to Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's exactly what I did. So, the first thing when you move to Michigan is you need to know what a Michigan left is. So that's a turnaround on a boulevard because you cannot make lefts at intersections. You also need to know that it does not matter what the weather is. People are going to make a left-hand turn into the right lane and a right-hand turn into the left lane because that's the way you have to do it in the wintertime and in heavy rain and everything else. Also, you can't see the lines on the streets when it rains. If it's dark outside, you just got to figure out which lane you're in it and kind of hopefully you're in a lane and not in between 2 lanes or on the shoulder because you can't see any of the lines on the road. They're just not there. What else? The weather. You can change your clothes 4 times in a day in the spring and in the fall. That's almost a guarantee. If it is raining in your town and you go one town over, it probably isn't raining. I'm just saying. It happens quite a bit. So you'll say to somebody, "Did you believe that storm last night?" And they'll be like, "What storm?" Because nothing happened by them. Lake effect is real. So if you live on the West Coast, you have completely different weather than people who live on the East. Southeastern Michigan is a whole different weather zone. Yeah, it's crazy here. And even if you live by like an inland lake and it's big enough, that affects your weather too. So yeah, you kind of listen to the weatherman, but you also have to step outside. There's no way around it. Like the weatherman is just like uh, the blind man's cane, but he still has to walk forward. That's how it is
A
in Michigan.
weatherman, a weatherman, they got the best job in the world. 50% of the time they can be wrong, and 50% of the time they can be right. If you were 50% wrong in drywall, you're not going to be a very good drywall. You're going to go starve. But a weatherman, I could be a weatherman.
What about this Dearborn? What do I keep hearing about Dearborn? I mean, is it a lot of Muslims or something, or what are they talking about there?
Oh, it's not just Dearborn. It's Dearborn, Hamtramck. Sterling Heights has a Sterling Heights is slightly different because it has a very big Chaldean Middle Eastern, and a lot of them are like 2 or 3 generations in. But Dearborn, unfortunately, has a lot of new blood for immigration, and that's worse. So in Michigan, you've got to look at how many generations has a family been here to where they've been Americanized, and they left because like their kids are being snatched up off the street for war. I grew up with, I've told this in many spaces that when I was a teenager, I met, a young man in the block whose father had already lost 2 sons, and he was the last son. And so he left everything. They took nothing with them but like backpacks, and got on a plane and left, because if they took anything more than that, they wouldn't allow them to leave. So, there are a lot of people like that here in Michigan. But then you have a lot of the newer Muslims that are much more fundamental, that are demanding the caliphate and demanding everything be followed. So it's like you can be Jewish by birth but not participate in the religion, but you can't be like Muslim by birth. You're part of the religion, you're part of the culture, but a lot of people are non-practicing. They kind of wave their hand at it and say, yeah, blah blah blah, but they kind of do what they want because they've been Americanized. But unfortunately, what's happened recently is we've just had a bigger influx of more fundamental, so it's kind of upturned the situation. I mean, remember this area has had historically one of the highest populations of Muslim, Middle Eastern immigrants and refugees in the United States. And that's in that area of Hamtramck, Dearborn, and then it's, gone into some other areas where, after a couple generations, people move on up, they move on out. They don't want to stay in the same area. They could look for better jobs and things like that, which is the Americanization, right? So that's the powder keg right now, is just the influx we've had of newer fundamental, and those people getting into office is where a lot of us are really paying attention as to who's in office and what's happening. So
Jen,
that's the big deal.
I told the story. One of my great friends moved from New Jersey, and he moved out to Helena, Montana. Right, and this is Helena is the capital of Montana, right? And he went out there and he experienced, hey, the West. This was probably 4 or 5 years ago, and he said ever since then there's been such an influx of people that have brought their politics with them. They're even proposing now legislation inside of town limits. You're not allowed to hunt or trap and you have to understand the way of life of Montanans. This is the way of life. There's real trappers out there. There's real fur getters. There's hunters. There's all these things. But now they want to take their politics from Northern California, San Francisco, and they move to these rural towns. Not that Helen is a total rural town, but it's a lot different than it is here on the East Coast. I can tell you that. So they're bringing their politics with them. Same in Florida, same in Texas. They're all experiencing it.
Well, speaking of politics, Marlon, I just posted in the Pill that the CEO of Act Blue, which is a Democrat political action committee, just pled the Fifth Amendment in the probe, the congressional probe over foreign donations to Act Blue. So that's interesting. That just broke literally minutes ago. And Donald Trump will be speaking from the White House here.
No, I wonder what he's got to say.
Why do you think they moved there? Is it because the housing prices are so under the 44,000?
What do you mean? You mean moving from California to Montana and you think that the real estate numbers are less? They're not. Right now they're just going up because the demand's there. We had the same shit in COVID. These people piled out of the cities and tried to get to the suburbs. That's basically what we saw. Jen, did you want to say something real quick?
Yeah, I'm going to speak to the housing prices. So remember in California, because they changed all of these laws, if you sold your home think about a starter home, 1 bathroom, 2 bedrooms, $1 million, depending on where you're at. You have to spend that money on a home within that year to not be taxed on that income in California. So that's why these people, they literally looked for property, acreage, because you can't get that. If you're anywhere in LA County, forget it. You're living on a postage stamp unless you've been there for 2 generations. So that's what that's what they had to do with their money. And then also, really quick, I put down in the Purple Pill, I asked this yesterday and nobody got back with me. And I have a friend that's waiting on this information. She is not on X or anything else. She just knows that I am. She's looking for some ivermectin protocol. She's been having health issues ever since she got the jab. She has a shoulder injury just from the application of the jab. And now she's having, still to this day, health complications. So she'd like to do an ivermectin detox. I do not have information on that anymore. The link I had, I can't find it. I don't know where it went to. So if somebody can @me, tag me, repost something to my timeline, anything, just, where I can find that information so I can give it to her so she can get started. Thanks, guys.
Well,
Hey, Jen. Hey, Jen. I'm sorry, Marlon. If you want, DM Lindsay RN. She might be able to direct you to the right doctor. I know I have a lot of different ones, but I'm not sure what pertains to what. But she would know best. So Lindsay RN, the House Lindsay. Yeah, DM her and just ask her, and she'll get back to you.
Now I can tell you, Jen, she can start on her own. She doesn't need a regimen, right? All she has to do is go to Farm and Country or any of these pet supply. Go into the horse medicine area, and there's all kinds of selections of ivermectin that she can take on her own. I've been taking that ivermectin for probably 3 years now. So I'm able to buy it right over the counter. It's just like a pencil tip, like an eraser tip size. You put a little dash, you wipe it on the back of your tongue, and you swallow it. You gotta, I will post the one that I use. It doesn't have a great aftertaste. Some of them have, infused with apple and blah, 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 blah. You kind of want to stay away from that. So, and if I was going to start my regimen, I would start two times a day. First thing in the morning and then after you've digested your meal, right before you go to bed. You can start without hearing any kind of, this is what Trump called, and the mainstream media broke his balls about the horse pace. That shit really works. So anybody doesn't believe me, do what you want. You can go to Farm and Country, whatever, and they got it on the shelves. I think it's about $13. Look, I would never give anybody the information that I haven't done already. I'm not dead yet, and I've been taking it for about 3 years. So I think it's worked.
Yeah, I got Dr. Peter McCullough, CULLOUGH, the wellness company, and he'll hook you up with spike detox and all this stuff, immune support. So he has a website, the wellness company, which should get you there.
Yeah, but sure, there's a lot of grumblings about McCullough. Made lots of money only doing it to commercialize it. Some of the things, the concrete information that came out, some of it doesn't work. I think the number one lesson that we all saw was what happened with Lindsay. Now, I watched Lindsay ever since I've been on this app. I've known Lindsay. We've been in spaces many, many times. To see the turnaround for her on what's going on as far as, hey, this plasma replenishment treatment that she did in Japan. Why isn't it here in the U.S.? People that are not only vax injured from the COVID vaccine, but think about all the vax injured from all the anthrax, all the cold, the flu. You know, I think there's more people out there vax injured than they know. Why shouldn't this be a treatment that, hey, should be ushered into America and given to us for free? Right? You paid for all the vaccines. Well, now you can pay for the medicine to fix it. That's my idea. So, you know, I'm not saying, hey, McCullough hasn't done the right thing. I don't really know a whole lot about him. There's some of the people that praise him very well. But, you know, there's some grumblings in the background. So for me, Jen, if she starts there and then she can get some kind of doctor to go in and give her some kind of subscription. My sister's been taking ivermectin and hydrochloroquine for 25 years. So, you know, these things actually work. Yeah, Julie.
Yeah, just speaking on the healthcare stuff, I was just looking at a post. I put it down in the purple bubble. So Marissa Sweeney, she is in the 25th district. She used to be a Dem. She flipped to the GOP, believe it or not. And she's a rep from that district in New Jersey, Morris County. And she's sponsoring a bill that would force doctors to charge you the same exact price for a virtual healthcare visit as opposed to an in-person visit. So no, putting a stethoscope to your chest, no, looking at certain things that are going wrong. I just talking to you over a screen. Okay. And guess what? She owns her own company. Guess what that is? Oh, it's a virtual healthcare company. And this is a woman who flipped. Supposedly, she went from Dem to Republican. Well, we are already taxed much. This will affect, if this passes, this will affect your insurance premiums, your premiums, your copays, and all that stuff. This is a big deal. So I just wanted to put that in there. I'm going to send it over to Wake Up to put it out so we have to call and make phone calls to an email so this bill gets squashed and never even sees the light of day. So it's just another money grabbing thing, another thing to take away from the hardworking citizens of New Jersey that are hardworking, that are already stretched out as it is. It's just it's a crime. I hate those virtual visits. I could see, if you're at home and you just want a prescription refill and you don't have a way to get to the doctor's office, you don't have transportation, but come on, just get up, get going. This is, ever since COVID, this is a big thing now. Everybody does these virtual visits, and I don't know how you're getting true accurate diagnoses from these doctors by just purely talking over the computer to them. But, that's just the old person in me.
I told you that my wife and mother-in-law went to the doctors together, and the doctor that we see, he was quite remorseful. Took about 45 minutes. He was actually sobbing in the meeting, crying because, hey, he's been influenced by this big pharma to damage his patients. It's basically what my doctor said. So, hey, his stock just went up a couple of points for me. You know, so maybe I'll start to trust it a little bit. And again, hey, I think it's partly to do with the diets. Start changing your diet and doing something different than you're doing because it ain't working. Anything in a box or a bottle, it's got chemicals in it. You don't want it. Go ahead, Jan.
I was just gonna say, yeah, those virtual visits. I personally know of two people that were actually diagnosed the wrong medication because it's pushy. They're not seeing you. They're not looking at you. They're not, watching your face. And, unfortunately, when you go into the medical system, they're drug pushers. They're drug dealers. That's what they have been trained up to do, to be a drug dealer. They don't look at the wholeness of the person, the wellness of the person, what you eat, what's going on in your life, all that kind of stuff. It's just, okay, here's a pill, da 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 da. Here's how we can chemically alter you in order to make it, so that you feel better. That's about it. So I'm a person that if I walk in and the first thing the doctor is going to do is, I'm going to give you this. No, you didn't even look at me. You didn't touch me. You didn't ask me what's going on. You didn't, nothing. I'm out. And I have to pay out of pocket. I've walked out of 2 doctor's visits and said, listen, you only saw me for 5 minutes. What can I get back from the money that I already paid because I didn't have insurance? Because this, I don't want drugs. I want someone to actually tell me what's going on. So yeah, it's getting to be more and more so, especially when they're using AI for their diagnosis and when everything has to go through the computer and they're looking down at their computer more than they're looking at you. They don't touch you anymore. They make zero human connection with you. And the fact that the insurances that we have won't pay for any other kind of medical assistance, and to have someone who will do those things that are alternatives to that, it's getting kind of crazy. But there's a lot of groups that are coming up that are self-supporting, that are giving different options. And I think the market may overtake this in the next few years, especially with MAHA kicking in and a lot of people getting educated, which is fantastic. So there's the white pill. You guys have a great time. I got to go back outside. My break's over. My self-given break is over. Have a great one.
Hey, John, before you leave, I'm sorry for interrupting, but since she's leaving, go look in the pill. I was looking for the information that I had found a while back. It's Dr. William Mackis, and he has a protocol for all the fenbendazole and ivermectin and stuff like that. So there's a link to his account by Mila Joy in there. And there's also a screenshot that I had put in there. So hopefully that'll help. I'm sorry for interrupting, but I didn't want her to leave until I got to say that. Good morning, everybody.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you. Good morning. Good to see you. Go ahead, Joe. You want to add in, then we'll get you to add in there.
Absolutely, and she's not gone yet. Good. I put a link to ivermectin and nitazoxanide in the pill, ironically. Dr. Jim Thomas really talks highly of nitazoxanide. There it's called Nizanide, same product, and both are seem to be very reasonably priced. I think Dr. Miranda on X was the one who supplied the link initially, and so there it is. That's all I had.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Go ahead, I see. How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for doing that. Put that in there. It's important. You hear people ask.
Oh, good morning. Yeah, I was looking, I heard it, and I'm like, damn, I have this screenshot somewhere. And I was looking through my gallery and I found it finally. And then I'm like, oh, it's a little blurry and it's not exactly everything. Let me go to his account and find it. And then I see Mila Joy reposted it. So I'm like, okay, here it is. Let me put it in the pill. And then find, hopefully I'll let her know. And then I hear her saying that she's leaving. I'm like, ah. So I have interrupted, but how are you everybody this morning? Yeah, so I don't know. I came in late, so I don't know what exactly you guys were talking about President Trump doing something. I don't know. I didn't hear that. I caught the very tail end of it. So,
We
yeah,
saw the
maybe you can catch
disrespect.
me up.
We saw the disrespect on what Stephen A. said about President Trump. Hearing the crowd. Some of the blaming Trump for losing the mojo, and he took the spotlight. It's just ridiculous to hear. Trump's been a Knicks fan since he ever
About
did.
the game, yeah, they're morons. What can I tell you?
Hey, yo,
So,
real quick, Marlon. Sorry, I got to drop out, bud. Sorry to interrupt
Yeah,
you.
sure.
I see.
All good.
All right, later.
And
yeah, no worries.
Marlon, just real quick, I was searching up an article and lost my co-host slot. I can't bring anybody up.
Yeah, no worries. We'll take care of that. We're kind of on the down stretch anyway. It's all good. Go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, it's just somebody was asking, what's the good things that President Trump has accomplished so far? Can you just give me some of those? I'm not being a wise ass. I'd like to be able to talk back to some of these people.
Well, look, hey, we know there's evidence right here. We heard Mikey Relentless, right? Mikey been in the fight for child trafficking. He has hundreds of kids that his organization has found and helped. He knows that, hey, the cooperation out of the Trump administration and the Tom Homan ICE administration has been impeccable with the sheriffs and the marshals and the state representatives. It's been great, he said, the continuity between all these cops and all that. So, you know what? That's the first one I hit him with because he's from this community. Mikey's been in the fight for a long, long time. I respect Mikey, and he's got the accolades. So why wouldn't you believe somebody inside of our own community saying, "Hey, here's the Trump administration's evidence. Here it is, man. This is what you voted for. This is what they're doing." How many other things can you kind of add on the list, right? Look, it's true. You haven't been around a long time, but when we first came out, it was against the East Coast wind. It was against the trucking issues out there. It was against immigration. It was talking about putting the labor gap back together. This is what I see. So everybody can waste their time and talk about Jeffrey Epstein files or whatever they want to talk about. But the things that we talked about from the very beginning have changed. Anybody that comes into this space knows it has totally flipped on its head the discussions that we started in this space. I'm not saying, hey, it's because of Marlin Space, they changed it. No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, when I came on here, ain't nobody knew shit about the East Coast wind, and now everybody does, James O'Keefe included. So, hey, if I was able to come on here and maybe just spark some energy to some people that may have been listening, well, you know what? I did my job. So that's what I think about the Trump administration. Am I aggravated about the Israel? Am I aggravated about, hey, not fixing the logistics lines quicker? Hey, am I aggravated? The Empire wind is still going on, Block Island wind, Long Island Sound wind. People think this fight's over. This fight's long from over. So if we don't keep talking about it, they're going to forget about it. They're going to do the typical government response and do nothing. So we got to stay on.
I like he did the Doge, finding out all that waste, and then I like the way he's charging like $100,000 or something for you to get an HB1. I mean, he's trying to do. It's just so many freaking things he's got to handle right now that Biden left us with. I'm not saying that. It's just like he has to do what he can do. He's only been in there for what, not even 2 years yet. So.
A lot of the problems that are there go long beyond the Biden administration. It goes long beyond the Trump administration at 16. It goes long beyond Obama's. It goes long beyond Bush Juniors. These are all the people that we grew up with. We all idolized these people. We thought they were doing the right thing for America. Well, now, damn, how much evidence do we really need? Hey, again, hey, most people take me as a ultra MAGA, and honestly, I'm really not, because I know the both sides, and especially the way the GOP plays in your local. See, everybody ignores it, man. It trickles down from the congressional all the way to your towns. And as soon as you guys start realizing that and get your nose involved, and I'm just telling you, you just got to show up at the meetings. You don't even have to say anything. By the second meeting, they're going to want to know who you are.
What's your opinion about Pratt? I heard that he basically shot himself in the foot somehow, but I didn't realize.
Oh no. I mean, isn't this half of the evidence that's supposed to be exposed here? I mean, look at the way the vote count went in California. I mean, I knew even my local representatives, I knew in 45 minutes before 9 o'clock, I knew that, hey, my people, my commissioners, my township people, I knew it at less than an hour later. So it's absurd to think that California didn't produce ballots for these up and coming runners. You don't think Bass? Look at how Bass handled LA County. You got to be shitting me. There's no way that those people in LA County, and from the grumblings that I hear, that they're not even issuing building permits for the houses that were there. So how could they manufacture these votes to get a guy that is living out of his trailer? His house burnt down. He's just trying to run for office, trying to get a building permit. I mean, come on, dude, there's major, major problems. And to watch them fumble that vote, it's not fumbling the vote. It's producing mail-in ballots, especially out of the towns the Republicans didn't win. Nobody would question. It's so thick, dude. If you knew half of it, I understand why people get discouraged on their vote. I understand. Yeah, Terry.
PBS had a expert on who said that the reason California takes so long to count these votes, are you ready for this? Is to ensure that there's no fraud. And I about fell out of my chair.
Well, it's quite comical.
Yeah, I was reading about the GAO, which is our government watchdog, basically accountability office, and they're just saying that trillions go through Washington every year. Nobody can even say where it actually went, and just like example, Obamacare enrollment was like 6 million up, which costs 25 billion of subsidies, and like small business loans handed out to people that are 11 years old, and unemployment mailed to infants and 115-year-old people. I mean, there's
well, at the end of the day, hey, did Doge go through? I don't think we quite know yet. Remember, the Trump administration's first year of a full policy and funding of those policies, it was January. Right? Don't you think all those traps are set for the people to go up and try and grab it? I mean, let's stop. Just please, I have to understand. It's really the evidence behind the funding here. I look, I'm the first one to get pissed off when we didn't get any rectification out of 2020 here. We heard Pam Bondi in her Senate committee hearing that, hey, there's an ongoing investigation. Well, damn, it's 2026. It's 6 years later. I mean, are we going to get some kind of resolution to know that, damn, does our vote count again? I thought we were going to get it before the election cycle started for the primary system. I thought we were going to get it. We didn't. It's been and I think it's got a lot to do with funding. I mean, think about all this IDA funding that stopped, and hey, how they acquired all these grants and bonds, and I think some of that's coming to light, and we just may not see it in the mainstream. I would think that there's a lot of this gerrymandering with the money going on behind the scenes that we all don't know about. I wish I knew more, but unfortunately, my pay grade. We and
pontificate about Social Security, unemployment, benefits for illegal immigrants. I mean, look at how much money is actually being wasted, or pork belly spending, is I think is the old term they used to use. Now, this is what Sam Fettis, I think I'm pronouncing that correct. Sam Fettis was on General Manager's show, and he talked about this, and he talked about the funding, especially to Israel. Right now, we talked about a bill 224 that's being presented that would really ensure the pipeline that all of our allies would get the same information real time right when they get it into the computer. Everybody's going to know. Israelis, Secret Service, everybody's going to know this is what 224 does, and they can't stop it after this. So that's one important bill. But what he talked about was the funding. You know, Trump did this shit before, and maybe they didn't take him serious. Remember when Trump's first administration, when he got into office, he held back the money on Central American countries. Now that's what they should be talking about with Israel. I'm not talking about going and just putting the legs out from under them. But I think if they started pausing some shit, you know, he even talked like short term, like 48 hours, 72 hours, and that would rumble through those different countries, and the funding would or temporarily be paused. I mean, what will we go for that? Would the roaches come out of the woodwork then? Or are you really going to see the clear picture? You know, they're talking about, oh, we need Israeli CIA department, or I forget what they call them, but you know, they're the best in the world. But I don't think that Americans realize that we're paying them like $40 billion just for this service for intelligence. They're saying that Israeli intelligence is the best in the world. Well, you know what? Americans ain't bad either. And maybe we should just stop paying the bills or put quick pauses on them. Maybe that would snap them too. Miles, you got something to say? How you doing?
Morning, everybody. Yeah, a couple things. The funding for Israel was all set up under Obama. It ends in 2028. So all this is what all the funding was already set up. They don't get anything else after 2028. So it's not Trump giving them the money. It's already been appropriated. So don't worry about that. He's not going to give them any more money. As far as, does anybody know what the penalty for mail fraud is? It's 20 years in prison. That's how they're going to go after these people. All the mail-in ballots is mail fraud. They're setting up the cases right now, the RICO cases.
What's this, the firm? What are we, Tom Cruise? We're going to come up. And the guy says, what'd you give me? You gave me tax evasion and
That's all mail.
fraud.
The mail-in ballot, so mail fraud.
No, I understand. But what he said was, oh, that's not attractive enough. He says, hey, did you really look at it and see the penalty? It's got teeth, you know? So you're right. If they attack him at the money end, it's got teeth.
Yeah. So just be patient, guys. It's all going to go on a RICO case. All these states with mail-in ballots, it's all mail fraud. So I'm just waiting for it to roll out. It's taken a while, but I can see all the pieces in place. They're just putting everything together. I don't know if it's going to come out before the midterms, but it doesn't matter. It's still mail fraud, and there's no statute of limitations. It's a conspiracy. They're all doing it, and so every time they have any kind of election and they use mail-in ballots, they're under penalty of a prosecution. Thanks.
Hey, Miles, what about when people are saying like, he's just profiting his own family so big, way more than Biden? What would you say to that?
Hold on. We talked about that earlier. And you know what? If we watch the evolution of the Trump enterprise and how they've kind of gone down this whole scrutiny thing, you know what? I don't half blame them at the end of the day. I mean, any other person would do the same thing. I mean, you've been walking on a golden parachute your entire life, right? You know, from understanding, growing up with Trump in the limelight. He was a freaking star, dude. Right? Yeah, you went to the clubs in New York, Trump stopped. It was insane. And that's part of it. That, remember, he is a celebrity. But if you remember back interviews with come on, I can't think of her name. Come on.
Hey,
Anyway.
Marlon, let me answer this question. So I'll send you information on what companies he's involved in and his kids are involved in. And you decide if you want to have free energy or not. If you decide that he's trying to screw you over by making your electric bill near nothing, I can send you what they're doing. I can send you all the companies that they're involved in trying to help this country out to be number one in the world. And then you decide if he's screwing you over.
I, you know what? That's beyond my education. I really don't know, Miles. I can't confidently talk about that. So I hope so. I got my governor telling me here she's going to freeze the utility rate right now. They're at the highest they've ever been. It's just such a joke. At the end of the day, like, you know, hey, yes, I'm even thinking about, you know, producing my own windmill. No shit. I mean, you know, buying my own windmill to charge my battery system. I don't get it. I do get it when they want to try and destroy the environment. My government, my own governor, has a stake inside the game, and he's going to fly away with billions of dollars from New Jersey. I got a problem with that. You know. Anyway, hey, we're kind of coming down to the end of it. I'm a little bit limited on time. I got somewhere to be here. I got some work to get done. So I'm definitely paying attention these days. So, Miles, I appreciate you coming in. Drew, I'll see. Joe, Nika, thank you for coming up. Good to see you. Thanks for helping out always. Dean, great to see you. Harry, thanks for coming up, man.
That's all good. Great space, Marlon, as always.
Well, and as soon as I want to wrap it up, Mr. Smalls walks in the room, and man, Mr. Smalls, great to see you. Hey, I got to wrap it up today, but listen, hey, if I'm not here, Truth is here, Terry's here, Nika's here, Julie's here, a lot of people putting in, and you know, hey, join the discussion, and I'll try and jump in as best as I can. I definitely will not be here tomorrow. I think we're going away on Friday, so we'll see what happens. But Terry, man, thank you again for coming. And listen, I think maybe talk about the things that we can change, you know, something that we can affect in our local, things that, hey, would affect our electric bill. Look at the people that are getting involved. If you don't know, and I know, hey, it takes time, it takes energy, but if you don't know, we're up there blindly running the state, your county, your township. I'm more interested now. Some of the outside regime won the primary, so I'm kind of interested to see the changes, and I know them. You know, they're definitely going to be put to the test. I think if most Americans thought and watched what was going on, and really, hey, now's the time to invest in those candidates, right? You know, you never know. Those township guys go from a township to a county commissioner to state department to congressional seat. That's the evolution of it. If you get in bed with them and you invest in those candidates, because hey, he's got the right message, he's doing the right thing, he's working on the things that you want to fight. You know, that's when you support and invest in those candidates. So remember that, because I know Pfeiffer for Congress. I know he's been poking around. We're definitely going to get him in here and talk and see what his policies are. And maybe you could take those same suggestions that, hey, this patriot's going to come up and fight for America. I think it's Mass. I think he's in a particular district. So we'll see. I'm interested to see the alternative candidates, and those are the ones that and we need to invest in before the 2A group, before the lobbyists, before the NGOs get to them. That's the time to invest in them. Then they're going to remember your name. That's the biggest part. So when they climb up the particular, you know, the politician ladder, you know, you're standing there with a grin because, hey, you supported them. You invested in that candidate. Remember, that's what we got to do. Coming out of the primary systems here, and it's going to be a big push to the midterm. You know what? In the back of my head, I think Trump is maybe, hey, man, put some energy towards this Iranian thing. Decide whether or not they're going to come to the table. If you go back and you listen to the recording, that's what we talked about. I believe that Iran is never going to come to the table. The same act that I watched when I was 9 years old with the hostage situation, they kept those people for 13 months until you showed them the arm. Sounds like this regime is not going to quit. Amen. God bless America. Thanks for coming in. Have a great rest of your day. Maybe we'll see you later in the week.